Hello, so it is Saturday. I'm going to do a bit of a voiceover straight after this on the upper day that I filmed yesterday. So I'm working a day behind schedule, but just having a post-workout meal of 100 grams of sourdough, 2 eggs, a little bit of ketchup. I usually have 3 eggs and then 100 gram, like 3 scrambled eggs and 100 grams of frozen peppers, but we ran out of eggs. Plan for today, I've trained already. I've done my posterior and arm day. I'm going to talk over that later. I still need to do 15 minutes cardio, so I'll get that done. I'm going to try and think of a talking point to do on the bike. I just want to eat this right now, to be honest. So I'll get the bike in here soon. I'll do a little bit of a talking point. Don't know what. I'll have a think. See what's hot. What's the goss on the streets, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about that. And then I'll do a voiceover for the upper day. Give you a little bit of context on why I'm doing what I'm doing. Then jobs are good. Okay, so bit of expenditure in the garden. 15 minutes on the bike. It was sunny. It's since, I think the sun's gone behind the cloud, but hopefully it picks up again while I'm out here. But the thing that I was going to try and make a bit of a talking point about is something I put about on Instagram. If you're not following it already, it's at Coach by Kieran. Is about like how over tracking can be something that's detrimental towards your fitness goals, towards your journey, towards your physique development goal. If you are like tracking every single variable that exists and using that as like the Bible, using it as stuff that you use then to make further decisions, it can end up just shooting you in the foot. So one of the examples I gave, I was working when I first started. I was a young buck in the game, didn't know what I was doing. I started with a coach who had me tracking my readiness score through an app on the iPhone, which basically, you wake up in the morning, you turn your camera on. Oh no, you don't. You turn your flashlight on your phone, on the app, and you hold your finger over the flashlight for 10 seconds, and that would give you a readiness score out of 100. If that was below 80, I wouldn't train on that day. And I stuck to that because I was like, why wouldn't I? This is what he's telling me to do, I'll do it. I wasn't training, but I felt great. Like there was nothing wrong with me. I had a real good night's sleep, food before was on point, I wasn't sore, like recovery was fine. But because the number said no, I didn't train. So I've just missed out on a lot of progress. A couple of times as well, like that happened more than once before I thought, what is he on about? And just, you know, went elsewhere, took my sail elsewhere because it was ridiculous. But that's the sort of thing, if it's not going to benefit you in progressing yourself forward in terms of your fitness journey, don't track it and don't use it as like the benchmark. The things you need to be tracking is your scale weight, obviously. Scale weight, your calories, your protein, carbs, all your macronutrients, your cardio, your expenditure in steps, sleep, training performance. That's about it really. You don't really need to overcomplicate it all that much. You just need enough in order to make informed decisions. You do not need everything. You don't need to be just every single variable. You don't need to track what time you're having a shit. Like, it's not gonna change what progresses you further. That is going to end up, you create a rod for your own back. If something's slightly off and you see that, it creates a bit of a psychological thing where now you feel like you're going to be able to train less, or your recovery is not quite as good because a random metric, an arbitrary number, has decided that you are now not in a fit state to train. So yeah, just track what you need. Track what you need in order to get your progress, how your stool quality is. Unless you've got some sort of gastrointestinal problem, in which case fair play, but you know, don't tell me about that. If any of my clients told me that they had a sloppy stool, I'd block them. Leave me alone, you creep. So that's cardio done, so I'm going to try and get as many steps boxed off now as I can. I've got a little bit of work to do today, so I'm going to talk over my upper video from yesterday. Then I've got a client onboarding video to do, and then I need to talk over a posterior and arm session that I did today. And then I also need to update some rehab programs and some training programs as well. So gonna try and get it all boxed off on the walking pad. Nice, easy way to make sure I hit my steps, because if not, I am just gonna sit on my ass and do nothing. But we'll get straight into it. So this is how I'm running my upper day at the minute. I'm starting off with a pec deck. So on this one, we are at 2 sets of 10 to 15, getting the shoulder nice and warm, but thinking about driving that bicep as hard as I can into the side of the chest. I'm using the fat grips and putting the input a little bit further up my wrist. Different to my other push day where I hold it at the grip. The reason for that is that the input point is now closer to the working joint, e.g. the shoulder. So I can get a little bit more tension through the pec. Also, it just feels a lot nicer. That's the other reason. And then I'm doing a 15-degree incline Smith machine bench press. This is at 6 to 8 and 8 to 10. Just thinking about reverse action cue. So because it's on a fixed path, the range of motion is chosen for you, and actually where the bar path goes is chosen. So all you need to think about is just driving yourself back and down into the bench as hard as you can. Then I've got an upper back row. So again, upper back movement. I want the shoulders to be creating the change of direction. I'm doing this one in a horizontal position rather than a vertical like my T-bar row. I think that's the right way around. Thinking about pulling the elbow in line with the body, driving my elbows out wide and pinching my shoulder blades together at the top, going through that full range, taking a slight pause in the stretch and also a squeeze at the top, pinching my shoulder blades as tight as I can. After that, we have got a lat pullover. That's not right. Have I got the dumbbell press on this? I bet I haven't. I've also then got a dumbbell press, but I didn't record that for some reason, but that is on a 30-degree incline dumbbell press. I'll try and edit a clip. Fuck knows, I'm gonna make this real hard for myself, aren't I? But I'm gonna try and put a clip of me doing a dumbbell press in there, somewhere here. We'll see if it works the way I want it to. But that's at 2 sets of 6 to 8 and 8 to 10. With a dumbbell, it's not quite a fixed path. Obviously, there's a little bit more movement there, so you just need to think about driving the bicep as hard as you can across the chest and keeping your back nice and tight on that one. Then I've got a lat pullover. This is at 2 sets of 10 to 15. Thinking about dragging the elbow into the base of the spine and keeping everything fixed position. So the shoulder is staying as rigid to the body as we can. The closer I can get that bicep to my rib cage, the more leverage my lat is going to get as well. And then I'll finish off with 3 sets, 12 to 15, and then 2 sets at 8 to 10 on a lying cable Y raise. So taking the shoulder through its fullest range. This is a little bit more challenge in the shortened position at the top. So, well, mid to short really is where the challenge is on this one. Just thinking about creating the biggest range at the top into the top Y there to pull the delta as short as possible. That's all I'm doing. You don't need to overcomplicate your upper day. You don't need to put 1,000 exercises in because you're just going to end up being in there forever. Don't try and do a full push session and a full pull session in one. Pick a couple of exercises, get really strong at them, and then progress them over time, and you're good to go.